He is a big man with big feet, with courage and bravery that he will never back out from a fight. But he is a very gentle guy, very thoughtful, affectionate, and soft-spoken, who can make friends everywhere he goes, especially with women, which make him a ladies' man. He loves to write cards and puts a lot of stickers on the envelope, just like a kid, and just like a lot of men who wants to be treated like babies sometimes. He has a sense of humor that he cut cartoons and humor comics and sends them to his friends. And when he is in the mood, he will sketch figures on any blank paper. I have a collection of them. He is a generous guy. He donates to a lot of U.S. charities, and you cannot count them with your fingers. See those there? In fact, he receives a lot of testimonials and certificates that he just dumps them in his straw bag file. He is a very frugal with himself, but generous in giving. He loves traveling, and that is why he bought 10 timeshares. I guess believing he will save that way. He also donated a lot of his books that filled up the library of our St. Michael's Century Chapel in Anao, Mexico, Pampanga. He paid for all the shippings and was responsible in the completion of the glass door cabinets that covered the whole wall, top to bottom, right to side, of the back of the altar. So you can just imagine how big is the library. He also joined the Liberty Lions Club of New York the moment we got married, and all the members were shocked when they met him and asked me where I found him. They even asked if I know anybody else like him. Since most of us in the club are women. He was one of the old members of Philippine Forum, where he enrolled in the computer class. He enjoyed mingling with Filipinos even if he tried to listen and he could not understand our language. When I met him, he was overweight and pregnant. That's why I told him he's ahead of me. His aunt used to say, he will eat even the table. But because I cared for his well-being, we practiced the simple rule of eating with the right quantity and quality, and he lost 55 pounds. Wow. You must be wondering how we met. Destiny brought us together, which started by attending a free, we both love anything free, of course, computer class in public school in Astoria, until one day his computer screwed up and our teacher told him to sit next to me since the chair was empty, and the next was history. He was expert in breaking the ice all the time, though he cannot chew it because of his dentures. They said when people meet, there is chemistry that starts a good relationship. They also said opposite attracts, and in our case it was very true. He is the slow type, and I called him slow-mo. And he said I was too fast, and he called me Speedy Gonzales. He is a time nut. So if you make an appointment with him, better not be late. I think that's the influence of MTA. That is why when he asked me what time I will be leaving, I always answered him, when you see me get out of that door, look at the clock. And that is the time. I learned my lesson. He said, oh, you learned your lesson now. And when we have an appointment, he will prepare himself hours ahead. On the other hand, I'll be busy doing something else while there is still time. He was obsessed with timeshares, and I'm not. So it's just fitting that I put his ashes there in a beautiful timepiece clock. English look. Though the nameplate will be made later, which will sit in my living room and keep me company and keep me on time. He speaks slow and soft, not like me, fast and loud. Especially when I get upset, which turns him off. So I said, he should avoid pushing the wrong button. When I laugh, I do it with gusto and with happy sound. He does not. So I told him to do the same, as it is good for the heart. Then he said, I laugh inside. So I have to check his chest if it is shaking. Isn't it true? We differ very much on meaning of the word retired. He retired at the age of 62 and never did any more job, but just enjoyed his pension. In my case, I said it only means retire, but keep on rolling. But there is chemistry also if there is common denominator. We both are talkative and like flea market and bargain centers. That is why we enjoy going to Wendy's and McDonald's. And when there is a shooting star, he takes me to Applebee's and Sizzler. When we have some friction, we don't stay mad too long. He will even open his arms and put my arms around him and ask, do you still like me? Then I say, just a teeny little bit. We are both liberal and open-minded in our beliefs and practices. Before, he did not like to be cremated, and he wanted to be buried where I'll be buried. Then I said, why did you want to be eaten by millions of maggots? And the expensive coffin will only rot under the ground. Besides, it will be very expensive to be flown in a coffin than me carrying his urn. I even said, the Bible says, dust to dust, ashes to ashes. So he finally agreed to be cremated. Then he asked, how do I know you're going to cremate me? And then I said, you'll never know. James never had any children, but he embraced my children. I have 2 in the Philippines and 1 here. And grandchildren, I have 5, 2 here, 3 there. Every time we go home, he had a great time. He enjoyed and bonded with my relatives. Most of them are there, a lot of them in the Philippines. He even fell in love with our country, and he always looked forward when we will really go home to the Philippines and enjoy our last days there. Now this happened, and it hurts. In fact, we're supposed to be in Florida this week and last week. We are already booked. We already prepared my luggage. And he looked forward to it. He was so happy. He was always in the mood. And this happened just a week before. It was so fast. Stroke, the next day coma, for 1 week coma, and the next day he's gone. Now I want to thank all those who prayed for him when he was in the hospital, especially to those who had time to visit him there. I want to thank all those who sent their mass cards and prayers and help. I want to thank all of you who came here to share with us this Memorial Day for him. I am sure if he is watching and listening right now, he'll be very pleased because he's surrounded by people who loved and cared for him. People in the Philippines that are calling me every day, every morning, making a mass for him and prayers. In fact, my daughter asked me to send a copy of this because the husband has a radio program and he might even read this on the air. And I told them to call the relatives so they can listen. I miss him so much. And the only way I could help myself is to get busy. So I'll start working tomorrow. Thank you very much.